I don't know, man. It's all just a big game, and I'm starting to look at all this. Even Alex Jones, hey, I listen to his show a lot. I admit that, and but I tell you what, listening to his side of this little rally they had down in Austin, about how he was attacked by provocateurs and all this stuff, and then paranoid, and I'm only hearing Alex's side of things, and it sounds like he's the patriot leading the movement, and these people are all getting in his face and disrupting his part in the rally and all this. Well, I come to see a tape, and it comes to turn out that they have in this rally with guest speakers, and here comes Alex out of the freaking blue with a bullhorn because, how dare you have a rally here in Austin without me as the top guy screaming the loudest, right? Mr. Ego there, so, and he's bullhorning the street, and there's a crowd behind him facing the other way looking at the speaker, the actual organ, what was supposed to be going on. And, but so, I mean, like I said, man, I think I'm starting to think that Alex Jones gives a lot of great information, has some really great guests on there to get you hooked that he's the real deal. And then he's going to provocateur you to get you all riled up and pissed off so that you will do things like try to fly a plane into the federal building. You know what I mean? Like that one guy did with his little Cessna plane or whatever after he burned his house down. So, and this Michael Savage guy, he's out there to put the idea in every freaking, which has probably got a huge audience because he's, one of these puppets. And he's putting that out there into people's heads that they're sleeper cells and that the average American calling into his show to disagree with his political views is now not only opposition politically, but now they are the enemy and they're the terrorist and they're a sleeper cell.
Going to Alex Jones, like I said, that Michael Savage guy goes, Obama and the liberals are probably going to stage an attack and blame it on the Tea Party, and now Alex Jones can't quit talking about him. And he's talking about Rush Limbaugh, and it's like, man, it's like, I don't know, like listen, like you said, like you are, like at one point, because when I was coming up and I started paying attention to politics when I was about 18 or so, I remember watching Waco when it happened. I didn't really understand it, but I knew there was something wrong with the government coming in and burning people to death, tanks, and then later denying that they did it and saying that people, caught themselves on fire. And I started paying attention to Clinton. That was kind of like when I was coming up, and I was like, wow, I'm definitely not a Democrat. Bill Clinton made me 100% positive that I was not a Democrat. So I'm like, I'm Republican because I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well, they're more about guns and shit like that, and I'm down with that. So I'm Republican.
Yeah, I was mad Clinton closed the bases. I'm like, what, weakening our freaking military here? Clinton's closing all these military bases, man. He's like cutting our shit in half,
Mm-hmm.
And you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
I was like, oh, I'm definitely not Democrat either, but that's what I think Alex is more of a Republican. It's the same with the Tea Parties. The Republicans infiltrated the Tea Parties and took the shit over, and they've already infiltrated the freedom movement with using Alex Jones with his, Republican views.
That's exactly where I'm going. I think not only do I think he's a CIA op, but I think he's pretty much shilling for the Republican Party. Like I was going Bush convinced me I wasn't a Republican when I saw what the Republicans were about. But throughout all of this, Alex Jones was kind of like, he started off kind of being a Republican. Now, let's keep in mind what he did in 2008. He convinced the revolution to support a Republican, to give their money to a Republican. He supported a Republican for governor of Texas. And then he tells people, you know, we got to do something about the left, right, the Republican, Democrats are all the same. We got to do shit about them. But then he keeps telling them to support people who don't leave that party. And then he comes on and he talks good about Rush Limbaugh and Michael Savage. And like I said before a couple times, I've even heard him say he wanted to embrace Glenn Beck because he wants to embrace truth and everything else. It's like he's shilling for the fucking Republican Party. He's keeping us all sidetracked. Like you were saying down there in Texas at the gun rally. Them people put that shit all together. He showed up when the news showed up. That's when he showed up. Like, what's the timing on that? He showed up when they did, and then even though those people had arranged speakers and everything, he bullhorned right over them. Like, oh, what happens? The fucking media, and the fucking media follows him around with their cameras, and then when Fox News wants to talk to somebody, they call Alex Jones. I mean, you know, you start to put it all together, and then he talks about, he brings on guests from the Fox network. He brings them onto his show. He goes on to their radio shows like Alan Colmes and this and that. Even Sean Hannity will have him on his radio show once in a while. It's like the connections are all there. They're all there, and he's just keeping us stagnant.
Well, see, as far as Ron Paul, I don't feel Ron Paul had to leave the Republican Party, because there's a lot of great Republicans out there that still want to follow the Constitution, and they just, you know what I mean, tend towards those values. And there's a lot of great Democrats out there, too, that want to stand up for the Constitution. I don't know if there's as many. I don't know how many on each side or what have you, but, you know, but there's... that's what they want to do, divide us into two teams. Oh, you're a Democrat. I'm not, you know, I'm not on your side. You know what I mean? And that's what we
can't. I was going to say, you can't lead a revolution if you're not ready to leave the Republican Party, because there are definitely good people on both sides of this whole who are still caught up in the bullshit. But, like, first off, you can't be as high in politics as Ron Paul is and not know what the hell's going on. You can't know that the GOP isn't controlled. You know what I mean? You can't know that they're not going to give you the nod because you're fucking dangerous, and the shit you say they don't want, you know what I mean? They're not going to give you the nod. So if you're going to stay there and play ball, that means the next time the shit comes around, if we all rally behind him like we did in 2008, in 2012, when he doesn't get the nod from the GOP, don't expect him to go, I'm going to be an independent and run, because it's not going to happen. He's already showed us it's not going to happen. He kept us occupied. We could have went with independent.
It could be, hey, put that idea out there, spark that love for patriotism, you know, that love for the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and get these people rallied up. So, because, okay, just like when you go hunting and you have a bird dog, and he goes out there and he flushes out the bird, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can shoot it. So maybe Ron Paul was to flush us all out, so that way we start doing shows like this, so that way they know exactly who to come get who's on the red list, you know what I mean?
Perfect analogy. Perfect analogy, especially people who start saying, you know, the dangerous stuff, who start to figure shit out. It's okay if you go on and you're going to parrot the same thing that all the other, you know, quote-unquote revolutionary talk shows or whatever say. If you go and pretty much parrot them, you're safe. If you start going out and you're kind of like free of that and you got your own thought and maybe your thought's a little bit different in some areas, then, you know, you might end up, like I say, Bill Cooper's dead, Alex Jones ain't.
Exactly. And, you know, I even looked past with Alex, I even looked past him dogging, you know, William Cooper. I heard that before, and, you know, probably about a year ago, somebody sent me that. And, you know, I tell you what, man, this dude acts like he's the original, like he thought of all this, like he discovered it all. No, it was William Cooper and his book, Behold the Pale Horse, that brought out a lot of this information. And Alex Jones is just the parrot repeating what he's already learned from somebody else and